Hello ma'am, my name is Clarence Sanel Sumali. So for this video, I will discuss the 5 heritage houses I found in Google. So let's start. Number 1. Bahay Nakpil Bautista in Quiapo, Manila. In the midst of the religious and holy district of the Quiapo, it is ironically feared for its notorious crowded streets infested with thieves and trickster. This misleading marquee opted tourists, even locals, to evade the place like plunge, neglecting the unexplored gems that the vicinity has yet to offer. One of the lesser-known Filipino heritage houses that played a huge part during the revolution is this 500 square meter two-story bahay na bato situated in Quiapo, Manila. Bahay Nakpil, also known as tahanan ng mga Katipunero, accounting to the dwellers' strong ties with the Katipunan, was built in 1914 by architect Arcadio Arellano for philanthropist Dr. Ariston Bautista, a good friend of Jose Rizal and his wife Petrona Nakpil. Dr. Bautista shared their residence with Petrona brother, musician and Vice Supremo of the Katipunan, Julio Nakpil, his wife Gregorio de Jesus, and their 8 children. Gregoria, the famous Lakambini ng Katipunan, was also the widow of the father of the Philippine Revolution, Andres Bonifacio. Although the exterior of the house appears to be a lost sheep in a pack of wolves, this shabby-looking Filipino heritage house stands from the rest of the concrete dwellings built in the area. The interior of Bahay Nakpil Bautista is Spanish in style with an hint of Viennese session, an Austrian art movement that favor clean lines, symmetry, and geometry rendered in hardwood. There even is a parking area for horse-drawn carriages for Zagwan and an area for designing jewelry known as plateria. Every intricate details of the house, from the machula tiles, the wooden banisters and panels, all the way to the antiques that were once used by the former residents, were thoroughly preserved by the descendants of Nakpils. Number 2 is Yap San Diego Central House in Cebu. Home to one of the oldest house in the structure in the Philippines. In ancient island where Spaniards landed in 16th century, Cebu City has earned a reputation for antique collectors and history enthusiasts. Its every name is derived from the word Cebu, or trade, shortened form of Sinibuyang Hingpit, or a place for trading, lying beneath the world famous delectable lechon, is one of the oldest houses in the century. Built sometime between 1675 and 17th century, Yapsan Jagon Central House in the Parian Cebu City is said to be the first Chinese house built outside of China, owned by the Chinese merchant Don Juan Yap and his wife Doña Maria Floredo. This Filipino heritage house is one of a kind due to its contrasting yet complementing architecture and interior style with Spanish, Filipino, and Chinese influences. The walls made of coral stones held together by egg whites, mulabe and balayong floors, and terracotta roof from mainland China. Despite the traces of deterioration and its weather-beaten condition are still impressively intact and sturdy. This two-story Filipino heritage house And alongside a museum is also physical depiction of Cebuanos, strong faith and devotion of Catholicism with all the life-size religious statues and relics of saints and Jesus Christ displayed all around the house. This Filipino-Chinese dwelling in a good centric style is now in the care of Bal San Diego and his wife Ofelia, great-grandson of Don Juan and Donna Maria, referred to as Balay nga Batu ug Kahoy by the local Yap. San Diego Central House is an open exhibit of contemporary and ancient artworks, accommodating antique and Cebuano-made pieces of furniture and the notable 18th centuries, both used as a flower bed in the garden. Bal, who is this resides in the house together with his family, firmly stands to never sell the ancestral house regardless of how much the offer is. He vows to preserve it for more generation to have a glimpse of the district rich and picturesque history. Number 3 is Vegan Central House in Misamis Oriental. This humble adobe in Misamis Oriental, adobe is perhaps the only one left of its kind, made primarily of the Philippines' strongest mulabi tree. The architectural design of the Vegas and Central House is common in the 18th and 19th century. What sets this Filipino heritage house apart from the other existing bahay na bato in the country is the unique sculpture wooden men, uti oat, in Visayas language, on the four corners, which appears to carry the weight of the second floor. It mimics the Greek Titan's Atlas carrying a Hajj globe on his shoulders. This 200-year-old Filipino heritage house is owned by the late Maria Clara Vega Jimenez, mother of Letty Jimenez Magsano, Philippine Daily Inquirer editor, and the late Lourdes Jimenez Cardiabal, better known as Inday Badiday, famous talk show host in 1980s, is one of the numerous hidden gems of the region. Maria ancestors Juan Vega, a young merchant in the 18s from San Nicolas, Cebu, settled in the small town of Balingasag, introducing Cebuanos devotion to Santo Niño to the Tuan folk residing in the area for good. One later on built this house primarily made of mulabe and baluyong, with walls in yellow woven abaca known as uway. In Bisayan, the Began Central House is classified under the earliest version of Bahay na Bato. Transitioning from the tradition Bahay Kubo, its uppermost portion, using the classical cogon for the roof in present time. The first floor has adapted into a restaurant to cater to hungry locals with the income used for the maintenance of the house. Notable personalities like Emilio Aguinaldo and Sergio Osmeña had once visited the place. Number 4 is La Peral White House in Baguio City. Not your typical White House, this vocal Amityville, situated in Baguio, has frequented horror movies and paranormal shows for a long time. Before the spirits of a girl believed to had been murdered during World War II lurked the Laperal White House. A wealthy couple named Roberto and Victoria Victorina Laperal raised the Erie house in the 1930s. Back in the day, the mountainous region and cool weather of Baguio attract influential Filipino to buy barren lands and build summer vacation homes in the city. One of the oldest clans in Baguio, the Laperal family, took advantage of this cap- capious period to build their Victorian-style Filipino heritage house. Woefully, this rare American colonial-style mansion promptly lost its grandeur when majority of the family were massacred during the war and was abandoned to deteriorate along the busy Leonard Road. Its highly complex architectural details derived from the European homes identified this Filipino heritage use apart from the many vintage houses in Baguio City. Native Nara and Yakal wood, which were readily available in the region, were used on most part of the house, giving a Filipino twist to its contradicting Victorian exterior. After acquiring ownership of the property in 2007, Chinese-Filipino billionaire tycoon Lucio Tan opened the sinister-looking gates of the Rockefeller White House to the unwilling and curious public in the form of a bamboo museum, giving life to the spine-chilling yet bewitching old mansion. Number 5. So this is the last. Gala Rodriguez and Central House in Sariaya, Quezon. Sariaya, Quezon is home to some of the most majestic looking Filipino heritage houses that all seem too monumental to be placed in a rural environment. Declared as a National Heritage Site by the National Historical Institute in 2008, Gala Rodriguez and Central House, owned by an Ilustrado couple, Dr. Isidro Rodriguez and Donna Gregorio Gala, is one of the few existing Art Deco architectural structure left in the country. This two-story mansion with colossal stained glass windows and a fan shape from front terrace was designed by Dr. Juan Napkil in the early 30s as requested by Don Rodriguez as a gift to his then ailing wife and 7 children of the peak of the Depression era. Tragically, before the completion of the family's supposed dream house, Donna Gregoria succumbed to her lingering illness 2 days prior to them moving in, because it was a labor of love and somehow a physical manifestation of his wife's unfinished business. The head of the family cherished the place and decorated it with the most exquisite French provincial furnishing and tapestries, almost as if the interior was an extension of the Buckingham Palace. In 1942, however, this Filipino heritage house served as a residence for the Japanese Imperial Army during the Japanese occupation in Syria, and the family was only allowed to occupy the ground floor and basement. The Art Deco movement was an artistic opposition from the preceding Depression era. Its extravagant and opulent statement was perfectly displayed as by the Gala Rodriguez and Central House The and even Kischi colors, streamlined forms, heavy geometric shape, and sunburst motif were all present in the ancestral house.